All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Big Hair Big Licks podcast. Today, my guest is an amazing musician, amazing guitar player. I am a huge fan of yours, Paige Drobot. How are you doing today?
Okay, great, great. Oh man, it means so much to me that you like my stuff.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. I remember, I think it was with Confucia. Um, we had played a show together at the Merch, and that was the first time I actually got to meet you. But I've always been like such a huge fan of yours, and it was so cool to meet you that day. And
That was the best. I remember that night because I could hear you telling some people at the merch that I was awesome, and they were like, "Well, if Ronnie says she's good, she must be good." So I was like, "Yeah, thanks for talking me up to the Selkirk folk."
Oh, always, always. No, I'm a huge fan. So let's kick into this here. First of all, the most kind of obvious question is, how have you been doing through this pandemic? Like, it's crazy times, unprecedented. How have you been? Have you been able to play music, record, kind of write during this time, or?
Well, I haven't been as productive as I'd like to have been, you know? Like, I think the whole thing made me realize that I was maybe getting a little burnt out a bit. So at first, it was almost like a little bit of a relief to like just rest for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
And so that was good. And then I had some productive times in the summer, but then it just gets to the point where I haven't been doing anything, so I don't have things to write about. You know what I mean? So I'm still playing, and luckily I've been able to be like teaching the whole time. So that keeps me on my instrument, and like I've been trying to do stuff, but I miss like I was going to rehearsals. Oh, he fell down. I was
Oh
going
no.
to rehearsals every like my whole social life was going to rehearsals or gigging or going to gigs, so like it's a bummer. I want to be positive, but like I'm not feeling great.
Yeah, it's definitely such a weird time, and I feel it's gotten weirder because at least before we were able to like rehearse with our bands and like at least get together and kind of collaborate, but now it's like we're supposed to stay away from everybody, and it's totally understandable to kind of take that break. And like you said, you've been nonstop working like for 10 years, like.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's all I did, right? And what I miss of course like playing with people and all that, but I also miss just like booking shows and making posters and all of everything that goes with it, right? Like the like right now I'd usually be applying to festivals for next year, and it sucks because like every year it gets a little better and you're getting asked for better shows. So it's like you start thinking like, oh, why couldn't this have happened like 5 years ago when I didn't have anything super cool coming up to get canceled, you know?
Yeah.
But everybody's in the same boat, and yeah, I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, I guess it's all good, like, because there's still, like you were speaking about momentum. I know you just released, well, is that like an, I guess it would be an EP, the Woman and Everything EP there?
Yeah, that one, I had recorded that and I was gonna do more of I was gonna add it to a full length record, but then when things shut down and the label that I'm on, Transition 66, he said, "Do you have anything to put out?" And I said, "Actually, I have two songs sitting here. Let's do this." And like, I would have loved to do it like a classic single on vinyl or something, but we can't sell it anywhere right now. But yeah, so like that was still old stuff. Like it's I'm trying to record more. I also moved during this all too, so that kind of set me back a little while. Always takes me a bit to get into a new space, but I find like I'm it forces you to go back to like the roots of just playing guitar for fun in your house, listening to music and learning tunes, like not learning tunes for a reason. Like I was always like, I could learn this band's set in 2 days to rehearse with them or whatever. But now it's just like, oh, I guess I'm gonna put on the songs like records and play along, right? Like I did when I was a kid.
No, exactly, and you hit it right on the head there. Like going back to kind of like that place of where we began, like just going back to playing guitar for fun, like you had said, just listening to music. Cause like, do you find like when you're in it and like and constantly grinding that you don't really have time to appreciate the like subtle aspect of that very thing, like just listening to music and
Yeah, you get to the point where like all your time is full, right? And then you also like for me, I start to get burnt out like at a point on like or I like quiet. I need like a quiet time, a recharge time, right? Because I'm like
Mhm.
teaching for 5 or 6 hours and rehearsing and learning songs before that during the day. So then there's a point in the day where it's just like I just want to sit in the silence for a little bit, you know. So but now it's like it got to the point where I was it's a bummer because I think like I was enjoying like the whole hermit thing for a while and then it got to the point, but now I'm like recharged and ready to go and I can't wait for things to get moving.
No, that's awesome, and that's another thing I think a good thing from this pandemic is like kind of that recharge, and then as soon as it's done, you know you're gonna see so many artists just do so much and go for it. Um, going back to just like listening to music and stuff. What are you listening to these days?
Oh man, I've been listening to lots of like I've actually been going like listening to jazz again and but I've also been watching like concert videos and stuff on like just trying to get my live music fix and I've been going back to like things that I watched religiously when I was a kid like Red Hot Chili Peppers at Slane Castle or like Jimi Hendrix concerts or Led Zeppelin concerts and like when I was a kid, I guess I watched every video I could find on YouTube, but it's been a long time since I did that, and there's new stuff out there too, right? And it's like, man, yeah, I still like this. I'm still a huge fan of bands, you know, the same bands that I was when I was a kid. It's just I haven't listened to them in a while.
No, that's awesome. Going to guitar playing here, like you're an absolutely incredible guitar player. Who are some of your influences?
Well, my biggest two are probably Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante. Um, very similar there, but like I also like Zappa and Adrian Belew and Carlos Alomar and Nile Rodgers, like anyone who played with Bowie, Mick Ronson, and like I don't know, like I went through. I was like a classic rock kid. Like I love fucking Slash and Jimmy Page and everybody, right? Like I have my Angus Young phase, um, and yeah, but like the long lasting ones are the ones for me that are like also just like writers and musicians as well. So like my favorite guitar players are also like excellent pop melody people too.
Yeah, for sure. When you mention Nile Rodgers, I love that because you don't hear many people mention him as an influence. And I got to see him open up for Cher when she was in town there. She came there, and I remember he just slayed it. They were so amazing, and people beside us were like, "He's just doing cover songs," and I look over, I'm like, "He wrote those songs."
Oh, that show! And then didn't Cher not play in the end too?
Yeah, she made everybody wait for like an hour, and then.
Oh, I was gonna go to that, but I wanted to see Chic, but like I was like, oh, but I don't want to see Cher, and I don't really want to like spend. I can't spend that much, and I had a gig. Everything was wrong, right? But then
Yeah.
like in the end, I found out that it was just a Nile Rodgers show. I was like, oh man, that would have been a good one.
No, for sure. But no, that's so awesome to hear that influence in like Adrian and Frank Zappa too. Like, um, I definitely hear the Hendrix and the John influences in your playing there. Like, is Hendrix like I find I hope this isn't weird to say. There's almost like a spirituality to your playing. Like when you're playing live, um, it gives me that same feeling as when I'm listening to Hendrix and stuff like that. Is that like kind of like the vibe you're going for, or does that just come naturally?
Well, it's like that's why I play music is because like I feel like when I'm playing the guitar, like I can express myself better than I can. Like I'm kind of a a nerd or what. Like I'm not that great at talking to like we're doing great now, but you know like I feel like I can express myself. Like for some reason I don't think when I'm playing the guitar and I just play what I feel and it's like a weird thing, you know. And I guess like I listen to those kind of players but I think I don't know, it's weird. I'm glad that you feel that, because I think a lot of like, there are people, when people feel it, like it's like the best thing ever, right? But like some people might just look at it and be like, oh, what the hell is going on there? You know what I mean? So like, I'm glad that you get that, and like, what am I trying to say? It is a spiritual thing. It's not. It's just I don't play anything that I don't mean. But then it also, like, you kind of screw yourself over sometimes, like, because you reach too far and like fall over or whatever. But then I'll be listening to like Jimmy Page and like he goes too fast and just like right. So it's like, okay, we're doing. Yeah, fuck, Hendrix is spiritual, man.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. How does that translate into your writing? Like, what's kind of like your writing process?
Everything at once, basically. Like, for the most part, like, I don't do a lot of like revisions for like lyrics or chords or anything, and I can write on demand, like, and all that, like when I'm working with groups and stuff like that. Like, I can come up with songs or whatever, use music theory, just come up with all these things. But like for the songs that I like end up playing with my band, it's usually just like a really like too personal thing. So that lends itself to like being able to get into that, like when you're playing too, right? So like, it's funny, like certain days, certain songs, I can't get to that place in my soloing, maybe because I'm just not feeling that way. And then like, but some songs, because I make them like too personal or whatever, then it's like, oh, I'm there again, you know. So it's a vulnerable thing, you know what I mean? Like, you have to like really put yourself out there, right? And so then it takes a lot out of you, and like a lot of people are at a show to have a good time. Right? And then so like sometimes you just feel like this downer or whatever, but then also I think like it inspires people sometimes too, and like some people like you get it and it's a positive experience.
For sure, and that's the thing too, is like when you're really putting yourself out there and letting yourself be vulnerable, especially like in a live setting. Not everyone's gonna get it, but the people that do get it, when they come up to you at the end of the show and they're like, "Hey, that really meant a lot to me. I was going through some stuff and that really helped me out." Like, that's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
And
I'd rather be an acquired taste, you know what I mean? And that's
yeah.
like the same take with like basically everything in as far as music goes. Like, I just write exactly what I want and do exactly what I want and do it myself. And it's not because it's like, why? Well, there's no other reason for me to do it other than just to do exactly what I want. So it's hard for me to like pretend to be something else or whatever, right? I don't know where I was going with that.
No, that's wicked. I love that, and I appreciate that so much, because I feel like, especially nowadays, and I'm not trying to trash music, but I feel there's a lot of people trying to be something they're not, and it's so refreshing to see somebody be themselves, and not only put that out there musically, but in terms of like songwriting and live performance too. Like, you don't really see that much anymore, so it's really refreshing to see that.
Well, I remember where I was gonna go with it all. Is like, I'd rather have 10 people genuinely like me and get me than, you know, pay a publicist to get how many thousand people know who I am, right? I'd rather people get, like, the people who know who I am get me or whatever, or don't like me or whatever. But like, it's the one-on-one relationships is what it's all about.
No, 100%. I love that. In terms of playing wise, I know that you've got your trio. Do you want to talk a little bit about your trio, like who you're playing with?
Sure, yeah. Like, I'm playing with my partner and his brother. So it's Adam and Derek Chicago. They played in Confucia. And like, when I heard them playing that band, it was like instantly my favorite band. And like, Adam plays guitar. He's a great guitar player. Holy, he's a great guitar player. And he was originally playing guitar in my band, and they jumped on bass when our bass player left, like right before the tour, and has been playing bass ever since. And it's just been easier to keep it like family band, me and the bros. But even now we aren't seeing Derek to play, like we haven't been jamming, the three of us, because he doesn't live. But it's been awesome. Like, these guys, they get my tunes. Like I think the first time I met them, they were playing Confucia and I was playing like a solo show. And I remember like they were already like just like air drumming and shit and ready to go. So like yeah, it's nice to play like people who are like into the same stuff and like want to improvise and stuff and are always ready.
That's wicked too. I noticed as well, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you do like a lot of like hired gun stuff, like people will hire you to play in their band and stuff like that. How do you enjoy that kind of process? Like, is it hard to kind of separate um like writing and performing your own music and then going and playing somebody else's, or how do you enjoy that process?
Well, it depends on the situation. Like, my favorite is when people like call me up and they want me to play because they like me and they want me to just be me, right? Like, one thing I've been doing during the pandemic is I have one guy who I work with, and like everything I play, he's psyched on, and like I just hear the song and then play on it right away without like anything, right? Like I might not even hear the song all the way through, and he's psyched. So sometimes I feel like crap about it, but he's psyched, so that I feel great, right? Or like when I play with my friend Marshall, same deal. He's just happy for me to be me, and I also like doing the ones like to challenge myself. Sometimes I think I like to do the ones where I'm doing someone else's parts too, because it's fun to learn them. I'll never take if it's like too far out of my alley, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't want to work that hard. I don't have enough time to like. I wouldn't have enough time to like totally learn a new style. But like, I think I play a lot of different styles, so it works out. And like, I kind of just do it because it's a chance to play like bigger, better venues than I get to play and stuff. Honestly, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'll learn your song, sure. Then I get to play at like that place, like very cool, you know. My music isn't as accessible for those places.
No, for sure. That's awesome. Do you find like is that something you would continue doing like for a long time, or is that just in a while type thing?
I would totally do it for a long time. Like I love doing that. I think I'll always do that. Like if someone wants me to play with them and I have the time and I like it, like of course I'll kitty bite me. Of course I'll play. I don't know like how. Yeah, no, of course I think I will. Yeah, I love collaborating with people and playing other people's music. It's like feels good to make other people's songs sound good and do what's best for the song. And like I think that like there's no one better than songwriters themselves to do that, right? Like I know when I'm playing my music, I prefer to play with songwriters because they just get it, right? Like they're not going to play from their ego, and they're not just going to do what the coolest thing is. They're going to like do what's best for the song. But I think these bands run into problems with liking to hire songwriters because songwriters always have their own thing going, right? So
Yeah.
I like when people are just like, do you want to play this bit, like no commitment type stuff.
No, that's awesome. When you play with artists like that, like I know for me when I do like hired gun stuff, and it's with like an artist who is doing like bigger venues or kind of these festivals and stuff, I love to like kind of take what they're doing and study it like in terms of the music business and stuff like that. Do you do a lot of that too? Like take their tips and tricks and
Well, everything, right? Like I love like learning anything about music, like any aspect, right? So I'm always listening with my college radio ears to their commercial radio things, right? And it's cool to be able to see, like I'm lucky that I totally get to see both sides of it, right? Like I see the DIY side and I see the grant funded side of things and the big stuff, right? And like I can find my path in the middle, and I can see what's working from different people's things and what I think is worth it and what I think is not worth it. Or and also like for me, like I work with people of all like different like backgrounds and stuff too. So then like some people are saying, oh, this is a scam, or like all this stuff. Like so I feel like things that I had like a gut feeling about, like that I didn't feel comfortable doing as an artist, like to hear from someone that like you don't need to do that is great. So I love being on both sides of it, and like then also like passing along these tips to my other DIY buddies and stuff too.
Yeah, it really is the best of both worlds there. Just kind of like segueing from that conversation. One thing I always like to ask guests on the podcast about is the music business side of things. I know you're the do-it-yourself artist there. Like that can be very trying. I know from my own experience in the music business, because I feel like people are gonna always try and take advantage of that. What has your experience been like handling the music business side of things? How do you navigate that world?
For me, and this just factors in because like I'm a naturally cheapskate kind of person. Like I respect producers and I respect everybody. Like I respect the whole industry and like I like when people respect me when they're hiring me too. But like I also know that like I know my the thing that like pays my bills is teaching guitar lessons. So I have like the luxury of like playing music can be like I'm not worried about putting food on the table with playing music. So it can be I'm not first of all I'm not worried, but then also the just the main thing that I do is keep the overheads low. Like if you keep your overheads really low, then you're gonna make money. Like I've never lost money on tour or like on a CD or anything like that because I didn't put a lot of money into it. And I'm willing to, like, I've paid for recording time and all that too, and engineers and stuff. Like, I know when I've always paid for mastering and I pay for all the things that, like, I know for sure I can't do. But for me, like, my music songwriting side of things is all just like exploration of how far I can take it myself. But yeah, I totally know, like, who to hire for everything or whatever, or what the grants could do for me and stuff. But, I don't know. I just can't. I know that I don't need $25,000 for a music video or whatever. You know what I mean? Who's gonna see that? Like, yeah, overhead's low and you can make money. That's the ticket.
I love that. One of the things, like I remember, I had this person who would always tell me, you've got to spend this amount of money to have a good sounding record and stuff, and you've got to spend this amount of money to do this. And then I started questioning it because I was like, I'm seeing um that exact same thing. I'm seeing the DIY scene putting out like some amazing records, amazing videos, stuff like that, and I'm just like, you can do it yourself, like, and I really love that way. I'm definitely leaning more towards that way as well these days.
Well, yeah, it's funny because like I had people telling me the same thing like for a long time. Like don't bother getting ready to put your record out until you have 10 or 20 grand or all this stuff like after it's recorded just to promote it and stuff like that. And then one day I just thought, like, screw it, I'm just gonna try it, you know what I mean, with my Zero Thought record. Like I'm just gonna try it, right? And like luckily like all I do is teach guitar otherwise, so like I can understand why people why people hire guitarists because they don't have time to do those things. But I figured like I have nothing but time, like I'm just gonna get on my computer and creep people and figure out how to promote this and figure out how to book a tour, like copy other bands. Like it's just a lot of work and like research and stuff. But once you've done it once, then you just take the whole thing for the next. Like once you've done it once, then you are a publicist and you could just copy your email list for the next record, you know?
No, exactly. I love that so much. I feel like a lot of younger artists can take a lot of inspiration from that as well. And I definitely want to talk to you about being a guitar teacher, because I've had the privilege of being one as well, and it's so great. But one thing I wanted to ask before that, and I just remembered it now. You played some shows during the pandemic. Like I know you played with Dead Levy at the Pyramid. How did you? I know for me, I played a show as well. It's the weirdest feeling, eh? Like how did you like it with the distancing and stuff?
No, like it was weird. Like I was desperate. Like it was kind of got my fix, but like you can't talk to people and hang out and do all the things that you want to do, you know? Like we played the Park Theater and the Pyramid. And yeah, it just takes away like the camaraderie between sets and getting to know. Yeah, because one of them it was actually my CD release, and like at that kind of thing, you're hugging everybody, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it was better. It was good to play, but and it was good in the sense like sometimes I would get tired and it was nice to have a chair. You know what I mean? Like some shows are getting long, but and it's like the people, everyone who was there was really, really listening, so that was cool. But I don't know, it was like not that fun. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a weird dynamic. We had some other shows booked that we didn't announce, and I remember after playing the one show, I canceled all of them because I didn't like the vibe going on.
Yeah.
Like it was super fun to be back on stage, but also just how people are kind of treating the staff, and it wasn't super bad, but the staff were trying to get people to sit down, and people were like agitated by that, and I was just like, I don't want to put anybody through that. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was bad vibes. Yeah, or even just like even just to see the poor, like these the bartenders who work at the music bars, they aren't they don't want to be waitressing. You know what I mean? Like that's what it comes down. Like they don't want to be doing table service. These are beer pouring guys. You know what I mean? So I just felt bad like making them do it.
for sure, no, 100%. You also mentioned something I really loved just in one of your posts about one of the shows, and that was normalized sobriety. I am all for that. I love that idea so much. Like there needs to be more of that. I really think there should be a movement behind that. So
Yeah, it's like there are some like there are options like some bars have it like the Goodwill and stuff like that, but like you know just you know I at this point I've played with enough musicians who were alcoholics, and then when they aren't alcoholics anymore and they want to get back into playing music, they're uncomfortable in the bar, right? Like that's not fair. Like it's not fair, right? Like it's just like why aren't there options for people like and then they don't want to get back into So that post when I made it, it was like it was for a friend of mine, you know, who wishes he could be more comfortable at the bar again to play shows because there's nowhere else to play shows.
You know, exactly. I love that so much. I just wanted to add that because when I saw that, it was one of those moments where I was reading the post. I was like, yeah, like that's freaking awesome. But let's move to being a guitar teacher. Like, that like there's no better feeling than having a budding musician look up to you. And like I said before, you're such an amazing player. Like anybody who learns from you is probably gonna be so inspired and take things to the next level. How much does it mean to you to be able to be a guitar teacher and teach the next generation?
It's like it's what keeps me going. Like I've been doing it for 8 years, and I've probably taught like more than 200 people to play the guitar. And like I've seen some of these, like some kids I've had for I don't know, like 8 years at a time. You know what I mean? So you see them from little to old. I've had like students of mine put out records and like, or just come out of their shell. Like sometimes they show up and they're the shyest kid, and then they get this thing like guitar becomes their thing, or this becomes their place where they can like talk, and then all of a sudden they can talk with me and they're talking to all the other adults and they're this cool rock kid now, you know? And it's great. And like I also like I really make sure like I teach kids to like read music like there's no other way. And when I was taking guitar when I was a kid, like so I just like don't ever like they're gonna be so good, you know what I mean? Like they get so good because like they know not only can they play but like they know everything too, right? Like like yeah, it's great. Like I'm hoping that 10 years from now I get to go see all my students play gigs.
That's so awesome. I love that very much. Yeah, that's wicked.
It's so fun. And it keeps you
Oh, for sure. I remember when I was teaching guitar, this 16-year-old kid came in. He was super shy, but I heard that he was a shredder, and I was like, oh, this should be super fun. So I sat down with him. This kid blew me out of the water at 16 years old. I didn't even want to play. I was like, oh my god. And then he went on like uh, when I left, he continued learning at the school, and now he's like at the jazz program at the university, and it's just so cool to see these musicians grow and know that you're a part of their journey.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome. And like now, as I'm getting a little older, every once in a while I get a student who like actually speaks me out specifically for me. You know what I mean? Like, because I work through schools and stuff, right? So like not like school division school, but like private schools. So it's just kind of like random people, and they get on my schedule, and then we bond or whatever. But now it's to the point where like people will like reach out to me who already play, just to like pick my brain and stuff, and that's always awesome to teach like more advanced lessons too.
No, that's wicked awesome. So we'll kind of start wrapping things up here. Crazy times, crazy year, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, I believe. Once this pandemic's over, I know you're signed to Transistor 66. Um, what are your plans? Are you gonna come right out of the gate and tour and do the whole release and album cycle thing, or?
Yeah, like I'm hoping to have a record by the time this is over for sure. I'm gonna record another one. I'm also like mixing a record for my band, the Psychics, right now. So like that would be great to get that going again after this is done. And like yeah, I just want to go somewhere. Like I'm sick of being in Winnipeg. I want to get on tour, and I hope that festivals get going again, and that like when things go back, that they still remember who I am.
No, that's awesome. Speaking of the Psychics, like what are your plans with the Psychics?
Well, our drummer moved to Toronto to study composition. Like he's doing his master. He's a crazy composer. Like it's insane the stuff that he does. But like we recorded at Exchange Studio last year, so I've just been mixing that away, and we're lucky to like put our vocals in the summer. But it's just a slow mixing thing. It's way harder to mix when it's not just your stuff, and like you have like the band to like you want it to do good for them, you know. So I'm like always like triple checking. It's a slow process, but like hopefully we could play again when things go. Like that's the band that I was talking about with like we want to play again, but like my bass player is a recovering alcoholic, and like it's like you want to have how do you get these like yeah it's just it's a where do we play like yeah
For sure,
so
yeah. There I definitely think there needs to be more all ages venues with kind of like the yeah, I guess just all ages venues. Like have had you played Bulldog Pizza before? I believe you have, right?
yeah I'm a North Ender, so I love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, I'm trying to think because there was one thing I wrote down here.
That's his plan now for shows. We're only going to play bars where there's food, and we're just going to eat as many beers as we drink. We're just going to eat that much chicken or whatever, right?
Well, that was the best part about Bulldog. You could play your set and then have some pizza afterwards and watch some other bands and have some great food and stuff. So
Yeah, you can still put your money into the venue and all that. Like we want to support, but you got to do it in food.
yeah. No, that's awesome. I also remembered what I was going to say. This Friday, so I'm going to be releasing the podcast right after we do the interview here. So this Friday is Bandcamp waiving their fees. I know you had made a post to go directly through you because you're selling some merch, some CDs. Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you want to download my stuff, or anyone, like if you want to download my stuff and chuck me money, then go to Bandcamp for sure. That's the easiest way. But I was thinking like what I end up doing if the CD's local from even my Bandcamp order, I just deliver it myself. I don't go to the post office or anything. So I feel bad. I won't pocket your shipping money, and it's a deal. So I'll just deliver it right to your house, the same as I always would. But yeah, there's CDs like my Woman Everything and Zero Thought. I still have some. Basically, I was just like looking at my merch case and hasn't moved in a while, and that it would be nice to get it empty. Or
No, that's awesome. Everybody, go buy a CD, buy a T-shirt. Paige, thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm like I said, I'm such a huge fan. I can't wait to hear more music from you, and I can't wait to see you play live when this is all over.
Likewise, likewise. I was super psyched to talk to you. It's nice to talk guitar, man.
For sure, yeah. No, always great to talk guitar. Always great to talk to a fellow Jimi Hendrix fan as well. All the best to you, Paige. You take care.
You too, brother. Take care.
Take care. Bye.